We've been doing most of our pre-processing so far in this course in the CPU of the computer, in pandas. You can do a lot of the pandas sort of things in something called RAPIDS, which loads everything into the GPU. Often, when you're dealing with this sort of data, tabular data, neural networks also may or may not be the best type of model for this. Often the traditional models deal much, much better with tabular data, whereas neural networks really excel in image and video and highly, highly unstructured data. We're going to take a look now at using RAPIDS, and then we're going to use a random forest type model to actually do the prediction. So we're going to do the whole entire chain inside of the GPU. So since we're doing a lot of that in the GPU, obviously you want as strong of a GPU as possible. What I often use for RAPIDS is the RTX 6000 Ada, which NVIDIA was very kind to give me one of these for use with the YouTube channel and my course. So you can see it here. This has 48 gigabytes of RAM, and that is just awesome. I mean, the H100s have even more if you're dealing in the cloud. But for this one, we're going to run it in Colab, and you'll want really as much. So this one we're going to run entirely in the cloud, and you're going to want really as much GPU as Colab will give you. And I'm going to change the runtime type. It's running on a T4. Let's just bump this all the way up to an A100. These choices will look probably different depending on where you're at in the timeline of the universe. So let's switch to that one. We'll go down here and we're going to run this code. This code installs RAPIDS into Colab because Colab does not come with RAPIDS pre-installed. That would be awesome. Maybe it'll get there at some point. We'll fast forward through this. This takes a moment. While that's installing, I will say with RAPIDS, it runs primarily in Linux environments. So if you are running RAPIDS on a Mac, I believe you're out of luck at this point. I do not believe RAPIDS runs on a Mac. If somebody wants to correct me on that, definitely let me know in the comments. In Colab here, this is all Linux, so that runs quite well. If you're going to run it in Windows, you've got to use WSL2. All right, RAPIDS is installed. So the code that I have here, you'll notice we're using cuML, CUDA machine learning, and we're going to make use of cuDF as well. That's the CUDA data frame. That's a replacement for pandas. Works very similar to pandas. There's some differences there. I'm going to be having more videos dealing specifically with RAPIDS. So if you're interested, definitely subscribe and you'll be notified as those come out. I'm going to be taking some pandas projects and converting those over to cuDF and see what happens, see how many changes are needed and what the performance improvement is going to be. So what's going on here is we're doing this is all code that I took exactly from pandas, no changes. For your pretty basic to midline pandas code, there's usually not a lot of changes. Anybody worked with RAPIDS a lot? What are some of the changes that you find you have to make when you're moving pandas code over? Let me know in the comments. But here we get everything set up, and we are going to then split it into training and test. And we're going to use a random forest regressor. So random forest regression. We're using this from cuML. So this is start to finish, GPU all the way. We load the data frame into the GPU. We perform the pre-processing in the GPU using RAPIDS, using very much panda-style code. And then we evaluate it and show you the final result, which is really quite good. When we run this, it runs through, and it will give you the final results. This really runs through quite quickly. And there we are, 0.53. Pretty good root mean square error, all things considered. So if you're interested in straight through GPU processing, particularly with tabular data, because this is pandas, cuDF, works really well for this sort of thing. And you might not even be sending the data to a machine learning model. RAPIDS is very, very good for data pipelines as well, using that GPU might to really pre-process and get the data into the right format. Thank you for watching this video. If this was useful, definitely give me a like. Please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss my other examples on RAPIDS and other projects and other courses and material from this course. Thank you very much.